I can't believe you'd rather go on our anniversary trip with your sister than with me, Nate. Am I not important to you anymore? The words tumble out of my mouth, a mix of shock and hurt. Nate just stands there, his expression unreadable. Audrey, it's not like that. Zoe really needs this getaway after her divorce. I thought you'd understand. His tone is almost patronizing, like I'm being unreasonable. Anger flares in my chest. Understand? It's our 5th anniversary, Nate. We've been planning this Hawaii trip for months. How could you just give it away to Zoe without even discussing it with me first? Nate sighs heavily. Look, can we not do this right now? I've had a long day at work, and I don't need you making a big deal out of everything like always. His dismissive words sting like a slap. Suddenly, I see our relationship with painful clarity. The long hours he spends at his startup job, the dream house we bought that keeps me far from my own work and friends. The way he always takes Zoe's side when she criticizes my cooking or decorating. I think back to the early days when Nate and I were inseparable. College sweethearts with big dreams, so in love we couldn't keep our hands off each other. Our beautiful wedding, all our friends and family celebrating the perfect couple. What happened to those 2 starry-eyed kids making forever promises? Not everything is about you, Audrey, Nate says coldly. I'm going to Hawaii with Zoe, and that's final. You can use the time to focus on your job, since that seems to be all you care about anyway. With that, he grabs his keys and walks out, slamming the door behind him. I sink onto the couch, hot tears spilling down my cheeks. The trip was supposed to rekindle our spark, remind us why we fell in love in the first place. Instead, I'm left crying alone while my husband chooses his sister over me. Suddenly, the hurt crystallizes into determination. I won't let Nate trample all over my heart like this. If he wants Zoe's company so badly, he can have it, but he can't have me too. I wipe my eyes and grab my phone, dialing with shaking fingers. Lila, I need your help, I say when my best friend picks up. You were right about Nate and Zoe. I caught them in a huge lie, and I need to make them pay. Are you in? As I pour out the whole sordid story, a plan begins to take shape in my mind. Nate and Zoe think they can get away with betraying me, but they have no idea what's coming. I vow to myself that by the time this is over, they'll both be sorry they ever crossed me. Revenge will be sweet indeed. The next few months pass in a blur of long hours and simmering resentment. Nate lands his dream job at a hot new tech startup and throws himself into work with a passion I haven't seen in years. At first, I'm thrilled for him, proud of his drive and success, but as the late nights and missed dinners pile up, I start to feel like an afterthought in my own marriage. Nate, you missed our date night again. I confront him one evening when he straggles in past midnight. You promised you'd make more time for us. I'm sorry, babe. This launch is just consuming everything right now, he says, pecking me on the cheek. I'll make it up to you soon, okay? I want to believe him, but his empty assurances are starting to ring hollow. Especially when he insists we need to move closer to his office, adding an hour to my own commute. The new house is gorgeous, but it feels more like Nate's trophy than our home. I'm still trying to make the best of things when Nate drops another bombshell. Zoe's going through a really rough divorce, he tells me out of the blue. I said she could come stay with us for a while. You don't mind, right? I'm so stunned I can barely sputter a response. Don't I get a say? This is my house too, Nate. Relax, it's not forever, he says, waving off my concerns. She just needs somewhere to crash while she gets back on her feet. It'll be nice to have her around. Nice is not the word I'd choose. From the moment Zoe moves in, she seems determined to make my life hell. She leaves her art supplies all over the house, hogs the bathroom for hours, and constantly criticizes my cooking and decorating. Frozen lasagna again, Audrey? She remarks snidely at dinner. No wonder you can't keep your man satisfied. I flush with anger and humiliation, but Nate just laughs. Lay off, sis. Audrey works hard too. She can't spend all day in the kitchen. His defense is weak, but at least he's trying. Until the day I overhear them whispering in the living room when they think I'm not home. Honestly, I don't know how you put up with her, Zoe is saying. She's so boring and high maintenance. You could do so much better, bro. I know, but what can I do? We've been together so long, I feel stuck. Nate's voice is resigned. Maybe I should have married someone more fun, like you. Zoe giggles, and I feel sick. Well, I'm always here if you need some excitement, she purrs suggestively. What Audrey doesn't know won't hurt her. I flee upstairs before they catch me listening, my heart pounding. Is Nate really that unhappy with me? Could he be cheating with Zoe? The thought makes me want to vomit. At work the next day, I unload everything on my best friend Lila. I just don't know what to do anymore, I confess tearfully. I feel like I'm losing Nate to Zoe and he doesn't even care. Lila frowns. I hate to say it, but it sounds like he might be having an affair, she says gently. The late nights, the distance, the way he always takes her side. It's not looking good, babe. I shake my head vehemently. No, Nate would never do that to me. He's not perfect, but he's not a cheater. Even as I say it, doubt niggles at me. Can I really be sure anymore? Lila looks unconvinced. Just keep your eyes open, okay? And remember, you deserve way better than some jerk who treats you like an afterthought. Her words echo in my head as I drive home, determined to fight for my marriage. I won't let Zoe destroy what Nate and I have built. It's time to remind my husband why he fell in love with me in the first place before it's too late. Over the next few weeks, I throw myself into being the perfect wife. I wake up early to make Nate's favorite breakfasts, keep the house spotless, and even sign up for a cooking class to expand my repertoire. It's exhausting juggling everything with my own demanding marketing career, but I'm determined to prove my worth as a spouse. Zoe, of course, seems intent on sabotaging my efforts at every turn. She leaves messes for me to clean up, accidentally ruins a batch of cookies I spent hours baking, and constantly undercuts me in front of Nate. Wow, Audrey, I had no idea you were so domestic. She remarks snidely when I present Nate with a homemade dinner after a long day. I guess someone has to be, since you're never around. I bite my tongue, refusing to sink to her level. Nate, to his credit, does seem to appreciate my hard work. He compliments my meals, thanks me for keeping things running smoothly, and even starts coming home a bit earlier some nights. One evening, he surprises me with a bouquet of roses and a candlelit dinner on the patio. I know I've been distant lately, he says, taking my hand across the table, but I want you to know how much I love and appreciate you, Audrey. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me. Tears spring to my eyes at his heartfelt words. Oh, Nate, that means so much to me. I love you too, more than anything. He grins, looking happier than I've seen him in months. Let's make this right, baby. What do you say we finally take that anniversary trip to Hawaii? Just the two of us, like we always planned. Joy surges through me and I throw my arms around him. Yes, absolutely yes. Oh, Nate, you have no idea how much I've been hoping for this. We spend the rest of the night excitedly planning our getaway, just like old times. I feel lighter than I have in ages, confident that Nate and I have turned a corner. Hawaii will be the fresh start we need to get our marriage back on track. I pour all my energy into making it the most romantic, unforgettable trip possible. I book us a luxurious couples suite, research the best restaurants and activities, and even splurge on some sexy new lingerie. With every arrangement, my excitement grows. Nate and I, alone in paradise, rediscovering all the reasons we fell in love. It's exactly what we need. The night before we leave, Lila comes over to help me pack. As I babble on about my plans, she listens with a supportive smile, but I can tell something is bothering her. What's wrong, Lila? You don't seem as excited as I am. She hesitates, then sighs. I don't want you to get your hopes up too high, babe. Nate's let you down before. I'd hate to see you crushed again if this trip doesn't go like you're imagining. I shake my head firmly. You're wrong. This time is different. I can feel it. Nate loves me. He's committed to fixing things. Hawaii is going to be a dream come true, you'll see. Lila raises her hands in surrender, but I can tell she's not convinced. It doesn't matter, though. I know in my bones that this trip is going to change everything for the better. As I zip up my suitcase, I picture me and Nate strolling hand in hand on the beach, sipping cocktails by the pool, making love with the sound of the ocean in our ears. It's so vivid, I can almost taste the salt on the breeze. For the first time in longer than I can remember, my heart feels full of hope. Little do I know, it's all about to come crashing down. The morning of our trip, I wake up giddy with anticipation. I reach for Nate, eager to start our romantic getaway, but his side of the bed is empty. Puzzled, I check the bathroom and kitchen, but there's no sign of him. That's when I notice his suitcase is gone too. Dread settles in my stomach as I frantically dial his number. Straight to voicemail. I try again and again, but no answer. I'm about to call the police when my phone finally buzzes with a text from Nate. My heart leaps until I read the message. Audrey, I'm sorry, but I had to do this. Zoe and I are in Hawaii. I just needed to get away with someone who actually knows how to have fun. I'll be back in a week. Don't wait up. The phone slips from my numb fingers and clatters to the floor. This can't be happening. He couldn't really have... But even as my mind reels in denial, the truth sinks in with sickening clarity. Nate chose Zoe over me, again. And this time, there's no going back. Hours crawl by in a haze of tears and shattered plans. I alternate between calling Nate's phone and pacing the house like a caged animal, desperate for any sign that this is all just a terrible misunderstanding. But as the day bleeds into night with no word, I'm forced to face the brutal reality. My husband abandoned me for his sister. It's nearly midnight when my phone finally rings, startling me from my anguished stupor. I lunge for it, half expecting Nate to tell me it was all a prank, that he's at the airport waiting for me. But the voice on the other end isn't Nate's. It's Zoe's. "Hey, sis!" she crows, and I can hear the cruel smirk in her voice. "How's it going? Nate and I are having the best time ever. Hawaii is so amazing. You really missed out. Oh wait, I guess you weren't invited." She cackles at her own joke as rage boils up inside me. "Put Nate on the phone right now," I spit through gritted teeth. "Ooh, someone's testy." Zoe mocks. "Sorry, babe, Nate can't come to the phone right now. He's in the shower washing off all the beach sex we just had. You know, I can see why you married him. He really knows how to satisfy a woman." I'm shaking so hard I can barely hold the phone. "You lying bitch. Nate would never touch you. He loves me." "Does he, though?" Zoe asks, innocently. "'Cause from where I'm standing, it sure looks like he prefers my company to yours. Why else would he ditch your lame anniversary for a week of fun with me? Face it, Audrey, you're old news. Nate traded up to the newer, hotter model. I swear to God, Zoe, if you don't put Nate on right now, you'll what? Cry into your cat? Please." Zoe snorts derisively. "Look, as entertaining as this has been, I've got to go. Nate's almost done in the shower, and I don't want to miss round 2. Aloha, bitch." She hangs up with a click, leaving me speechless with fury. For a moment, I just stand there, the dial tone echoing in my ear as angry tears stream down my face. Then, with a wordless scream of rage, I hurl the phone at the wall. It shatters with a satisfying crunch. I sink to the floor, not even caring about the broken glass digging into my knees. My marriage, my anniversary, my whole life, it's all laying in pieces around me. Destroyed in one cruel blow by the 2 people I trusted most. In that moment, as I kneel there shaking with grief and betrayal, something inside me snaps. The hurt and heartbreak harden into cold, sharp-edged fury. Nate and Zoe think they can just toss me aside and ride off into the Hawaiian sunset? They have no idea what they've unleashed. I push myself to my feet, ignoring the sting of the cuts on my legs. Zoe was right about one thing. Crying won't solve anything. It's time to stop being a pathetic victim and start getting even. I grab my keys with renewed purpose. Lila, I need to talk to Lila. She tried to warn me and I didn't listen, but it's not too late. Nate and Zoe are about to learn that hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, and by the time I'm done, they'll be sorry they ever fucked with Audrey Carlson. I'm still shaking with rage and betrayal as I pull up to Lila's house. She opens the door, takes one look at my tear-streaked face, and immediately pulls me into a fierce hug. "Oh, honey, what happened?" she asks, leading me to the couch. The whole sordid story comes pouring out of me, every humiliating detail. Lila listens in growing horror, her eyes widening at Zoe's cruel taunts. "That fucking bitch," she seethes when I finish. "I can't believe she'd stoop so low. And Nate, what a spineless, cheating bastard. Oh, Audrey, I'm so sorry you're going through this." She wraps me in another hug as I dissolve into fresh sobs. "I just don't understand how he could do this to me," I choke out. "I loved him so much, I trusted him, and now it's all ruined." "Listen to me," Lila says fiercely, pulling back to look me in the eye. "This is not your fault. Nate is the one who broke your vows, who betrayed you in the worst possible way. You deserve so much better than a man who would treat you like this." Her words are like a salve on my battered heart. For the first time since this nightmare started, I feel a flicker of something beyond despair. Lila's right, I don't deserve this. Nate and Zoe do. You know what the worst part is, I say, anger hardening my voice. They're in Hawaii right now, probably laughing about what a fool I am. They think they got away with it, that they can just destroy my life and ride off into the sunset. Well, fuck that. I want them to pay for what they did to me. A slow smile spreads across Lila's face. Well then, let's make them pay. You know what they say, revenge is a dish best served cold. And I think it's time Nate and Zoe got a taste of their own medicine. She grabs her laptop and starts typing furiously. You know, I just remembered something. My cousin Olivia works at a fancy resort in Maui, the same one Nate booked for your anniversary. I wonder. She trails off, a wicked gleam in her eye as she scans the screen. Suddenly she lets out a triumphant whoop. I knew it. They're staying at Olivia's resort right now. Oh, this is too perfect. What are you going to do? I ask, hope warring with trepidation. Lila shoots me a conspiratorial grin. Let's just say Nate and Zoe's romantic getaway is about to hit some turbulence. Olivia owes me a favor, and I'm calling it in. She grabs her phone and steps into the other room. I can hear her murmuring, the occasional sharp bark of laughter making me desperately curious. After a few minutes, she returns, looking enormously pleased with herself. It's done, she announces. Olivia is going to make sure Nate and Zoe's trip is cut short. I'd hate for them to miss the surprise that's waiting for them back home. What surprise? I ask, my heart pounding. Lila's grin turns downright devilish. Let's just say you're about to take back your power, Audrey. By the time we're through, Nate and Zoe are going to rue the day they fucked with you. She squeezes my hand, her eyes glinting with fierce determination. You with me, babe? Because once we start down this path, there's no going back. I think of Nate's cold dismissal, Zoe's mocking laughter, the way they discarded me like trash, blowing up my life without a second thought. The pain and heartbreak harden into steely resolve. I'm in, I say, my voice ringing with conviction. Let's burn their fucking world down. Lila whoops and high-fives me, eyes dancing with anticipation. Hell yes! Watch out, cheaters. Karma's a bitch and her name is Audrey. For the first time since I woke up to Nate's betrayal, I feel a flicker of something like hope. Maybe I can't undo the hurt they've caused, but I can sure as hell make them regret it. Nate and Zoe picked the wrong woman to mess with, and now it's time to show them just how big a mistake that was. Nate and Zoe are 30,000 feet in the air when the first domino falls. Sipping champagne in first class, they're blissfully unaware that their romantic getaway is about to implode spectacularly. It starts with a knock on their hotel room door, just as they're getting ready for a night out. Zoe answers in a skimpy bikini, clearly expecting room service. Instead, she's confronted by the grim face of the resort manager. I'm sorry, Miss Carlson, but I'm afraid there's been a problem with your reservation, he says stiffly. It appears your credit card has been declined. I must ask you to vacate the premises immediately. There must be some mistake, Zoe blusters, but the manager is unmoved. I assure you there is no mistake. Your card issuer has flagged the charges as fraudulent. If you cannot provide an alternative form of payment, you will need to leave. Now. Nate appears behind Zoe, hastily buttoning his shirt. What's going on? What do you mean the charges are fraudulent? The manager levels him with a cold stare. Perhaps you should ask your wife, Mr. Carlson. The card on file belongs to an Audrey Carlson. I assume that's not a coincidence? Nate and Zoe exchange panicked looks as the penny drops. In their haste to escape, they used my credit card to book the room, and now that I've reported it stolen, they're thoroughly screwed. What follows is a humiliating odyssey of packing bags, arguing with the front desk, and getting unceremoniously booted from the resort. As they wait for a taxi to the airport, Zoe rounds on Nate in fury. You idiot! I told you we should have used cash! Now look what's happened. Our whole trip is ruined because of your stupid wife. My wife? Nate shoots back. Last I checked, you were more than happy to screw me over, sis. This is just as much your fault as mine. They descend into vicious bickering, each blaming the other for their predicament. It's a stark contrast to the loved-up couple who arrived just days ago, all smiles and wandering hands. The long flight home is tense and miserable, the afterglow of their tryst well and truly extinguished. Nate tries to sleep, but his phone won't stop buzzing with calls and texts from his boss. With growing dread, he finally answers, Nate, what the hell is going on? His boss demands without preamble. I just got off the phone with HR. They received an anonymous tip about you engaging in an inappropriate relationship with your sister. Please tell me this is bullshit. Nate's stomach drops to his shoes. Oh, fuck. He should have known Audrey wouldn't let him off that easily. Listen, it's not what it sounds like, he says desperately. Zoe and I, it was a misunderstanding. Save it. His boss snaps. Your little sexcapade is already the talk of the office. Apparently there are photos. What the fuck were you thinking, man? You know we have a morality clause. Photos? What photos? Nate asks weakly, but in his heart he already knows. Audrey must have hired someone to follow them, to document their every sordid move. His affair with Zoe, laid bare for all the world to see. The photos of you and your sister playing grab-ass on the beach, John says tightly. Not to mention the shots of you stumbling drunk out of bars and casinos. You're supposed to be my head of sales, Nate. How the fuck am I supposed to trust you after this? Nate closes his eyes, his whole life unraveling with dizzying speed. John, please. I can explain. Just give me a chance to. You're fired, John cuts him off brutally. Clear out your desk and turn in your company card. And Nate, don't bother using me as a reference. You're poisoned now. The line goes dead, and Nate lets the phone slip from his numb fingers. Beside him, Zoe is watching with growing horror. Nate, what's going on? What did he say? Nate turns to her, his face a mask of despair. I'm fucked, Zoe. We both are. Audrey knows everything. And now I've lost my job. My whole fucking career. He slumps back in his seat, staring sightlessly out the window. Zoe pats his arm, but there's no comfort in her touch. Only the bitter ashes of regret. They thought they could destroy my life and walk away unscathed. But karma has other plans. And as their plane touches down in the city where their sins were born, Nate and Zoe are about to learn that payback is the coldest bitch of all. Nate looks like he's aged a decade when he finally drags himself through our front door, Zoe slinking in behind him. I'm waiting in the living room, my bags packed and stacked neatly by the couch. Lila stands beside me, a silent pillar of support. Audrey, Nate croaks when he sees me. Baby, I can explain. Don't you baby me, you lying sack of shit, I cut him off coldly. I know everything. The affair, the stolen credit card, all of it. Did you really think I wouldn't find out? Nate has the grace to look ashamed. I'm sorry, okay? I fucked up, but it was a mistake. It didn't mean anything. Didn't mean anything? Zoe interrupts, her voice shrill with indignation. Is that why you were screaming my name when you came? Why you said I was the best you ever had? I flinch at the crude details, bile rising in my throat. Nate rounds on Zoe, his face twisted in anger. Shut the fuck up, Zoe. You're not helping. Oh, I'm sorry. Was I supposed to keep quiet about banging my brother? Zoe sneers. Newsflash, asshole. You're the one who begged me for it. Please, Zoe, I need you so bad. Audrey doesn't understand me like you do. Pathetic. Nate looks like he wants to strangle her. I cut in before they can descend into a full-blown screaming match. Enough, I say, my voice like a whip crack. I don't want to hear another word out of either of you. Nate, I want you out of my house and out of my life. Here. I toss a manila envelope at his feet. He picks it up with shaking hands, his face draining of color as he scans the contents. Divorce papers, he says numbly. You're divorcing me. Give the man a prize. Lila mutters. I ignore her, keeping my gaze locked on Nate. You have two options, I say evenly. You can sign those papers and walk away with a shred of dignity intact. Or you can try to fight me, and I'll drag you through the mud of a public divorce. Imagine what those beach photos will look like splashed across the tabloids. Nate Carlson caught in incestuous affair with sister. Has a nice ring to it, don't you think? Nate looks physically ill. Audrey, please. I'm sorry, I'm so fucking sorry. I'll do anything. Just give me another chance. You want another chance? I laugh, the sound harsh and brittle. Okay, how's this? I'll give you another chance if you can explain this. I toss a stack of bank statements at his feet, watching in grim satisfaction as he scrambles to pick them up. What is this? He asks, his voice trembling. That's a record of every dime you spent on your little fuckfest with the hot yoga instructor, I say coldly. You know, the one you've been screwing for the last 6 months. The one you paid for with our joint account while I was busy playing the good little housewife? Nate's face drains of all color. How did you? Doesn't matter how I know, I cut him off. What matters is that I have proof. Ironclad, court-admissible proof of your infidelity. So go ahead, Nate. Tell me again how sorry you are. Tell me how it was all a big mistake. I fucking dare you. There's a long, awful silence. Nate stares at the papers in his hand, his shoulders slumping in defeat. I'll sign, he says dully. I'll sign the papers. Just don't drag Zoe into this, okay? She didn't do anything wrong. Didn't do anything wrong? I repeat incredulously. She fucked my husband and taunted me about it. She's just as guilty as you are. Please, Audrey, Nate begs. I'll take all the blame. Just leave her out of it. I'm the one who pursued her. I'm the one who cheated. She's innocent. I stare at him, disgust warring with disbelief. Even now, even after everything, he's still trying to protect Zoe. Still putting her before me. You know what? You two deserve each other, I spit. I hope you'll be very happy together. Living in my house, spending my money, sleeping in my bed. Oh wait, you won't be, because I'm taking it all. I grab my bags and march to the door, Lila right behind me. I pause on the threshold, taking one last look at the man I once loved more than life itself. Goodbye, Nate, I say coldly. Have a nice life. And Zoe, choke on a dick. Then I walk out, leaving my old life smoldering in ashes behind me. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. But as I climb into Lila's waiting car, I feel a flicker of something like triumph. I lost my marriage, but I found my strength, and that's worth more than Nate and Zoe's worthless hides will ever be. The fallout from Nate and Zoe's affair is swift and brutal. Within days, the whole sordid story is splashed across the gossip blogs, complete with those damning beach photos. Nate's squeaky clean reputation is shredded overnight, his name becoming synonymous with scandal and disgrace. Unsurprisingly, no one wants to hire the executive caught banging his sister. Nate's job prospects dry up faster than a puddle in the Sahara, leaving him unemployed and practically unemployable. He tries to cash in on his notoriety with a tell-all book deal, but not even the sleaziest publishers will touch him. Zoe fares no better. Her once thriving art business crumbles under the weight of the scandal, clients fleeing in droves. The final nail in the coffin comes courtesy of Lila and me, in the form of scathing online reviews from a dissatisfied customer. Zoe Carlson is a talentless hack who uses her sexuality to manipulate clients, the review reads. She took my money, flirted with my husband, and delivered shoddy amateur work. Stay far away, unless you want to be scammed by a sibling fucking fraud. The review goes viral, shared gleefully by a public eager to see Zoe get her comeuppance. Within a week, her commissions have dried up completely. No one wants to be associated with the art world's most infamous homewrecker. Drowning in debt and disgrace, Nate and Zoe have no choice but to sell the house and move into a cramped apartment on the wrong side of town. The close quarters do nothing for their deteriorating relationship, and soon the screaming matches become a daily occurrence. This is all your fault, Zoe shrieks one night, hurling a vase at Nate's head. If you hadn't seduced me, I'd still have my career, my reputation. Oh, please, you begged me for it, Nate roars back. Batting your eyelashes, rubbing up on me every chance you got. You think I don't know you were just using me to get back at Audrey? You're nothing but a vindictive little slut. Their fights echo through the thin walls, the soundtrack of a life in shambles. The once close siblings become bitter enemies, united only by their mutual loathing and shared misery. Meanwhile, I'm slowly putting the pieces of my life back together. The divorce is finalized in record time, thanks to Nate's eagerness to cut his losses and slink away with his tail between his legs. I get the house, the car, and a hefty chunk of alimony, more than enough to start fresh. Work becomes my salvation, a place to channel my energy and rebuild my self-worth. My boss notices my newfound determination and rewards me with a big promotion, making me the youngest marketing director in the company's history. It's a heady feeling, knowing I've risen from the ashes of my failed marriage to achieve something extraordinary. The months pass in a blur of long hours and hard-won triumphs. Slowly but surely, the wounds Nate and Zoe inflicted begin to heal. I stop flinching at the sound of their names, stop dreaming of their cruel laughter and mocking smiles. A year to the day after that fateful trip to Hawaii, I find myself boarding a plane to Maui. But this time, I'm traveling alone. No lying husband, no backstabbing sister-in-law, just me, my bikini, and a hard-earned sense of peace. As the plane lifts off, I lean back in my seat and close my eyes, a small smile playing at my lips. I think back to the broken woman I was a year ago, sobbing on Lila's couch as my world fell apart. I barely recognize her now. I'm not the same naive girl who believed in fairy tale endings and happily ever afters. I'm stronger, wiser, battle-scarred but unbroken. I've walked through the flames of betrayal and come out tempered steel on the other side. The future stretches before me, bright and full of promise. I don't know what it holds, but I know I'm ready to face it head-on. Because if there's one thing I've learned, it's that I am a survivor, a phoenix rising from the ashes of my old life, ready to take on the world. Nate and Zoe thought they could break me, but they underestimated the power of a woman scorned. They may have won the battle, but I won the fucking war. And as the Hawaiian sun rises over the horizon, bathing me in its golden glow, I know that this is only the beginning. The best is yet to come, and I'm ready to seize it with both hands. Watch out, world. Audrey Carlson is coming for you, and heaven help anyone who tries to stand in my way.